Hello and welcome to Behind the Scenes at a Publisher. I am Peter Vaughan from Cardboard Alchemy, and we are here. It's a Friday. It could be whatever day you're watching this. I appreciate everyone watching this, joining us live or joining us later to just talk about board games. That's what we're here for. Cardboard Alchemy makes Flamecraft, we make Andromeda's Edge, we made Mission Catastrophe, and we make Critter Kitchen, which as of this week has started delivering to backers. So we're super excited because it is our fourth game that we've published. We are officially, because it's funny, like we had funded Critter Kitchen, but it felt like it was out, but this is coming out. I know a lot of people are still getting it. So we're going to be talking about Critter Kitchen kind of a lot this session, and just like talking all the things Critter Kitchen. We have Rosie, who's our comms manager, in the chat, and she's talking to people who, if you have a question, please ask whatever you want to ask about design or development or rules of Critter Kitchen, or when is your copy coming. That it's a fair question to ask as well. We could talk about Andromeda's Edge. We could talk about future campaigns. We could talk about Kickstarter or GameFound or whatever you want to chat about, or what you're playing this weekend. Yes, tell me what you want to know. We have a fun time chatting with everyone. Chris Strain, who works here at Cardboard Alchemy, when's my copy coming? Well, Chris, the US fulfillment starts on February 11th. Does that mean you're going to get your game on February 11th? No, it is possible, but it probably means that it will be from February 11th on. There are thousands of US backers, and so we expect that to be February and March. So and Anthony is saying perfect timing with a certain Dice Tower top 10 games of all time. And yes, we were glued to our computers for that stream because we wanted to see if the Dice Tower mentioned any of our games in their top 10. And as we did so, we found out that Tom Vassell listed Andromeda's Edge as his number 8 game of all time. That's what we're talking about, of all time. And even crazier, Mike DeLisio named Andromeda's Edge his number 3 game of all time. That's awesome. Not only is that phenomenal, and we're so excited by that, but also it is the first year that Andromeda's Edge could be even considered for said, it's just like the first year the game has rocketed up into such a memorable spot with players, and we're so pumped about Andromeda's Edge. So huge kudos to Luke Laurie and Maximus Laurie for making an amazing game that we got to, at Cardboard Alchemy, we got to finesse and publish that and figure out the components for it. I know there's a lot of appreciation too for the components and just how that game came out, and the entire experience of Andromeda's Edge is we're just honored. So that is awesome. Thanks for mentioning that, Anthony, because I know you've been a longtime fan. We have some fans of Andromeda's Edge in the house. We are thrilled that Andromeda's Edge has all that love. Mark Dandridge, AE has moved to my number 1 slot. Well, thank you very much. That's what we're so excited by that. Actually, it's since Mark, came on and wanted and mentioned that. I know that Rosie, you don't bring Rosie in. We we have some. We were excited, Mark, to see that you had shared with us something in the Facebook group too.
I'm doing that now.
Well, maybe if we
do it now.
No, it was
just carry on talking while I awkwardly do tech.
Well, we have something that we do here, which is that occasionally when someone shares something in our Facebook groups, as Mark does a great job of pointing out, hey, I saw something about Andromeda's Edge the other day, or he'll share something like he did in the Facebook group, which is he made an obelisk dice tower. Like, holy crap.
So cool.
I love seeing things that fans do, but especially this is such a great idea. We are actually talking about making a dice tower ourselves. Now, I don't know if we can make it as cool as that, Mark, because I have been thinking about an obelisk dice tower as well. we're exploring the possibilities, but seeing that you built one is so cool, and we're honored to have that in there.
It's very cool.
Peter Hayward, I love that you pointed this out. Andromeda's Edge might not have left the BGG Hot 50 since it launched in September. It's just unbelievable. I could pinch myself every day over that fact. We make games because we're thrilled to make games. We're excited to make games. We ourselves are gamers, and I almost never dream of we're making the games primarily because we're just juiced up about making games and sharing games. And then when somebody says, I love this game too, it's just every time it's just a joy to have that happen. So I think he's talking about Peter C. Hayward, who did all. I definitely did a lot for Andromeda's Edge, but I would do it again in a second. Although I will tell you, and I've said this before, Andromeda's Edge was like climbing, Mount Kilimanjaro. It was just climbing. It's this, when you are at the base of the mountain, you look at the summit and you're like, I have no idea how we're going to get there. I don't, you see all the files and all the graphic design and all the component challenges and all of the, in the books were 68 pages. It's like this. We'll never get there. I mean, you look at that, and it is very easy to get discouraged. But then you want to make a Void Drake or an Ion Storm, or you get excited when like some leaders slot into a building, or Luke tells you about a cool faction that he just tested, and then you just get juiced up about the whole process. Sergio Chavez illustrates something that makes you think we have to make this, right? Those are the kind of, it just takes, and we have a team that is so good. We have people in the production and the dev teams. Lauren and Chris on our team particularly did so much file work, right? We just had, it was a 3-year process. It was longer for Luke and Maximus. And you get to the end of 3 years, and then someone appreciates that final product. It's amazing. So we are excited for Andromeda's Edge. We are also excited for Critter Kitchen because it is having its heyday, because Critter Kitchen is going to blow people away with its gameplay. It's so much fun, and it's simultaneous. It's simultaneous worker placement, which is not done very often. It's very unique. And I'm excited by the fact that it plays 1 to 7. We've already heard from people who've gotten copies in Canada who have started playing solo mode already out of the gate. And I think as people like get it to the table this weekend and we start hearing to multiplayer games of it, it's funny because Anthony just says that his brother climbed Kilimanjaro. Now that is truly epic. I'm just talking about making a board game. Still, it felt like a climb, but it was nowhere close to actually climbing a mountain. But anyway.
I believe this was the first delivery we saw from Cass. I think
look how big that is, by the way,
on our group that received it, and it got like 64 comments or something. So that's how I know. I think it was the first one, because everyone's going, like it's here. So yeah, that was.
I'm going to put up something in. I did this in Andromeda's Edge Facebook group as well. I'm going to put something in the Andromeda's Edge, the Critter Kitchen Facebook group, where I'm going to ask if you've received it in a certain country, like the first person who gets it in Sweden, the first person who gets it in Austria or Australia or New Zealand, or the first person who gets it in Thailand. I want to hear from it. Like, so if you have a country that hasn't been in the list yet, please tell me. I'm going to put a post up, and I like to keep track of the dates that it gets in every country, because we had something around 55 countries we delivered Andromeda's Edge to. I'd love to see how this goes for Critter Kitchen. So far, I believe we have Canada reporting in. I've heard of a UK delivery. I've heard of a Sweden delivery. I've heard of a Polish delivery. I think they've only got 4 that I've heard of, but I'm not on the wall where Rosie and Judy are answering a lot of people or getting emails. So I haven't seen someone claim it in another country like Spain or Italy or Germany or somewhere, Hello. Stephanie says, hi, it's good to see you. We also have Gray Fox, super jealous of the Canadian folk. That's right. Mid-February is when the US starts. But it is going to, I know when you see pictures of it, you're like, where's mine? It's definitely.
Is it weird that it's literally like at my feet? And then I have the.
Wow, Rosie just decides to double down and rub it in that she has it already in the UK.
Yeah, but I will say that whenever anyone goes, it took me this long to unbox it. Times it by 4 because that's how long it took me because I had to film it.
Yeah. I'm actually filming it right now for our customer service for like replacements, so that we literally can tell, if someone's missing a certain token, and it's a lot of components. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So those who are unaware, we do have a video out for unboxing and reboxing the deluxe.
Yes.
So if you have any questions where you're going, where does this go? Then you should have answers on the big one. It's got everything in it. The deluxe arrives with the expansion like already in it and everything. So you just need to you can mix it all up and put it in. Whereas this is the standard with the expansion in it. So you can see it's closed. Look, everything is in there. It is heavy.
We designed the base game to fit everything from the expansion inside, and I also have that version. Like I have it all in there. It fits,
Yeah.
but wow, it just barely fits.
There's a sneak peek of what.
Yeah, right. It has all the meeples and everything in there. And I actually have some cards out because I wanted to talk about critics today, because we have some people enjoying the game, and I thought every week we can do some little different content about Critter Kitchen. Well, we'll do that in a minute. I just want to make sure we've. What else did we want to talk about? Well, I also want to talk about solo mode in Critter Kitchen, because I know some people are playing it, and there's been some questions about how that works. We are going to have a solo how to play coming. It's good to talk about what videos are coming up for Critter Kitchen. We are going to have, so Rosie did an unboxing, reboxing of the deluxe. There will be an unboxing, reboxing of the standard and the expansion, how that fits.
Yeah, so the video will tell you how to put the standard back in, and then also tell you how to put the standard and the expansion back in. The reason it has that is because there'll be people in the future who won't have received the expansion, because everyone who's backed it is receiving the expansion. But in the future, people will buy the standard on its own. That's why you'll have to get through that bit to get to the bit that you need, which is everything going in the box. But I feel like there'll be people going, I just want to know the standard, so I'm doing it. There's a few layers to it.
Yeah. We also have two playthroughs with a 5-player group and a 7-player group, so that we can show you different configurations of the game, like different critics and different restaurateurs and carts in play. And Rosie is in the 7-player, which is going to be really fun.
I am in it, yeah. I am in it wearing a chef's jacket, a Critter Kitchen chef's jacket.
So we have those videos coming. We also are commissioning a solo how to play. And we're also commissioning like a multiplayer, so we can get another how to play from 2 different channels. So you're going to get like more different coverage of Critter Kitchen. And then on top of that, we may have some more videos. We are talking with the designers right now about a head-to-head now that the game is out, and Alex and Peter have played 3 times against each other in the campaign, now that it's released, having like another head-to-head match.
Yeah. The weirdest conversation is happening right now in the comments.
Oh, wait, what? There's an unboxing and a reboxing and a boxing video.
Yeah, you could probably guess the results of that one. As I am unscathed, he really got out of the weapon.
So. And in the 2-player heads-up matchup, the last time that they played, so far Alex won 2 games, the first 2 games against Peter, and then was getting kind of cocky and said that he could beat Peter again. But I think the bet was that if he lost by X amount, like a big amount, he would dye his hair a different color. And I believe that, as Peter says, he has ordered the hair dye. So for that video, I did not lose a bet. I just decided to do it in solidarity.
I'm so excited.
Wow, Chris is putting his money on you, Rosie, in that fight. That's amazing.
Maybe it's the youth because isn't Mike Tyson really old now? Like,
Thank you, by the way, Matthew, for saying the unboxing video is great. I agree. I'm very biased, but I definitely think Rosie is the best in the business at those kind of videos.
thank you very much.
I'm very honored to have her.
Very weird. I'm weirdly skilled in it because I used to make like 5-minute craft videos of all the whole transitions and everything. I never thought that it would become practically useful
It is.
in the industry that I like. It was just like, wait a second. So, just so everyone knows, it's me sort of hunched over a table going, and then like going, that will probably work. And then I cut it and go, oh, it did work. That's good.
You can tell that you like stop motion by the video. You can tell that you're a fan.
I do adore stop motion. I also like edited them to be slower and faster running across my hands. I was like, oh, I think the ball would be slower. I think the mouse would be faster.
Yeah, I did. I was in animation in college and I took stop motion classes and it was a lot of fun. And
I made stop motion puppets for my degree, but I never
Nice.
studied making them move.
So,
But
yeah,
yeah, I
we
do
need
love
a
stop motion.
we need a Critter Kitchen stop motion puppet video. I'm
Oh my
sorry.
goodness, right. Anyone that's seen Severance, you know that stop motion in that is amazing.
I like this. Thank you for making it. Hi, it's good to see you.
Oh, Patrick liked the music. I'm so pleased that you like the music in the unboxing because we decided to find some extra music from the same artist that did this like trailer ones. We found it, and I just thought maybe if you were playing, you could stick it on in the background, so we put on some different tracks.
It's a good soundtrack for the game. It gets me in the right mood, I think.
It's jazzy, but like slightly French. I don't know what it is about.
Jazz is exactly what I want for getting into a bistro. I want to start making some donuts with that music.
Sadly, Ratatouille we couldn't use, for obvious reasons, but that would be perfect.
Wow, we have Smack Talk in the cup. Is it true that the inclusion of the frog was a mistake? Dog is asking for everyone to mail the frog back. That's correct.
No, well, that is me hacking the emails, asking everyone to mail me the frogs because I want 1 million frogs.
Yeah. Fun fact: we are entertaining a frog in some frogs in our future games. Not not necessarily for Rosie, but I'm sure she'll enjoy the fact that
I will appreciate all the frogs and toads. I'm not biased. I will take
interesting
all the frogs and toads.
Need a game for I love those books like Mr. Toad. Wind
of the Willows.
Yeah, those are great. We need a game on that theme. Anyway. Let's talk about since we're talking about Critter Kitchen and some people did ask, I want to talk about what regions are shipping. We have the latest update did cover this, but there's been some slight changes, which is that Canada did start on January 27th as planned, and Spiral Galaxy did start on all Europe packages on January 27th as planned. Now Australia told us that they were verifying addresses, but they are not prepared to start immediately. So after they get the addresses verified, then they'll start in early February, but it's a little bit later than they're not going like as of that day. The United States is still on track for February 11th. Mexico, because I know Axel asked about Mexico. Now, Mexico, we have had confirmation. Basically, for Mexico, we have to have them sent from the United States hub down to Mexico, which we started that process. There is paperwork and there's whole sorts of things to do that. But we started that process earlier than we did on Andromeda's Edge because we want to make sure that it goes out around the same time as the US ones. But to be decided, we have to confirm that the container gets into Mexico. There is never a dull in fulfillment because I believe we're still chasing down a container in the United States. They have some, but not all of the containers. And it's like, come on. I swear to God, like they were on different boats and one boat decided to go slow and another boat decided to like putz around and then they got delayed in port and this whole thing. Anyway, it is coming. The only other one we didn't cover is Asia, and Asia has been celebrating this week was the beginning of the Lunar New Year. So all of the staff at VFI is off right now, but they did get some of the boats started before they took off. And as soon as they get back, they're cranking, and then some more boats will go, and all of China. I think China, Macau, and Hong Kong get it first in mid-February. So that's the regions. This is the exciting part about delivering a crowdfunding campaign, is that it's just a lot of excited people about it. And not only that, but we're also planning for retail. So retail Critter Kitchen will be available in April, and ahead of that, we're going to the Gamma Trade Show, which is a business-to-business show, where we're going to show it to retailers. We're going to show the game. We're going to demo the game. We're going to join Lucky Duck. And Lucky Duck, I believe, is giving a copy to almost 400 retailers, like, for free, so they can have it as a demo copy in their store. And we're super excited by that. So it's super, super fun. So let's talk about some cards. And yeah, Peter Hayward will be there at Gamma as well.
Oh, just on like around that time, if anyone is going to Aircon in the UK, I'm doing a talk called Critterific Games with Kim Joy. So if you want to come and meet Kim Joy, who's obviously in Critter Kitchen as Kit Joy,
yes,
bring your card, she'll sign it. We're going to be talking about games that we love with Critters in, and obviously Critter Kitchen will be getting some love. So yeah, come along to Aircon in March, which is I think it's like the 14th of March, but it's not the biggest event, but it's a lot of fun. Lots of playing games. Yeah, exactly. Box Meeples will be in the front row. And if you haven't watched it, Box Meeples have a top 10 games out right now. And I haven't checked it yet, but I have a funny feeling that maybe Andromeda's Edge is in the list.
Nice.
Because I'm getting a lot of hints from them over WhatsApp. They're like, you should watch it. So
yes, everyone should absolutely check out Box Meeples. I want to check it out now. And thank you for everything that you do for the industry. Love your videos. So I wanted to mention, like, this, by the way, is how many different critics you could play in Critter Kitchen. Like, this is a ridiculous amount of content, and this is just the beginning of the ways you can vary your game up. So the concept of the game Critter Kitchen is that you are playing as a restaurant owner. You are an animal in an all animal town. You're in Bistro Bay, home of the infinite soup. You're just cooking up. Your magic is happening in your kitchen, and you've heard that a famous critic is coming to town, and you're going to prepare a 7-course meal for this critic. And when you play the game for the first time, we recommend that you play against the mouse. The mouse is coming to town, and every time you play one of these critics, they are going to have a unique rule or rules that changes how you play the game. And that is what's so exciting, is that even if you mix in no other content, this is how many different times you can play this game and get a different rule. And they're all, like, incredibly fun. The mouse is what we recommend as a starter, but then after that, you're like, oh, today I want to play with the badger that just happens to love mushrooms. And the badger says that throughout the game, mushrooms could be anything, because they'll just absolutely take.
Because mushrooms are the best and should be in all meals, Peter.
Thematically, I get why mushrooms are anything, because mushrooms do take on the taste of whatever you cook them with. And then I say, why don't you just cook with that thing and you don't need the mushrooms at all? But I am not a badger. So what would I know about this? But also the badger says you can use any spice on mushrooms, which is fun, because in the game, sometimes you only can get your hands on a carrot spice, but you can use it on a mushroom. You got the capybara. Look at this. Look what Sendara did with this capybara. Look at that.
I love it.
It's so cute. Every challenge meal is worth an extra star. Now, challenge meals are something you could do instead of the critic meal. So, like, you're keeping your eye on the ball with a 7-course meal that you have to make. But of course, your fridge doesn't have enough room to keep like that top level meat all day, all week. So you're going to potentially go, you know what would be better? I'm going to serve it up in this challenge, because the town is raving about a savory stack right now. And the capybara is going to say that those challenges are even more rewarded. Here's one of my absolute favorites. I'm already a fun guy. That's great. I love the fruit bat. Look at how serious this fruit bat critic is. Cool. The fruit bat is so much fun. When preparing the critic meal, each course can include an unspiced wine matching that course's value, and gain a star for each wine pairing. So this is so fun, because let's say you grab yourself a 6 carrot. Well, if you can grab a 6 wine, you've paired that wine with that carrot. If you grab a 3 cheese and get a 3 wine, you've paired that wine. It's just a fun idea of doing wine pairings. And it makes the game, makes the wine tokens just an absolute rush. So
the fruit bat is actually the one that looks most like my dad, because that's how he dresses. He has one of those hats. Yeah. But we'll say that guy looks way more trim than my dad.
Sandara drew the kangaroo. Look at how beautiful this is.
I love the kangaroo's power so much. I played it with it and it's just brutal.
The kangaroo, throughout the game, treat all 6 value ingredients as 9s, which is so much fun because normally 7s are the best quality thing you can get in Critter Kitchen. But all of a sudden, and there's 2 6 tokens in every type, like 2 6 breads and 2 6 fish. And all of a sudden they're 9s. And that's ridiculous. Like people are freaking out because you can just turn the token upside down too, which is really fun.
And the thing is that people looking at the board from all angles forget. So even if you flipped it upside down, they forget. They go, oh, I'm going to take this. And someone goes, why didn't you take the 9? It's like, no.
This is amazing because Peter C. Hayward, one of the co-designers, is from Australia. And he is saying that it incorporates Indigenous Australian art into the image. So Sandara really was so awesome that she did that.
Sandara's amazing at including like art from lots of different cultures, like the way that she incorporates different things. Like we've had people on this really lovely post on TikTok, someone saying how grateful they were for showing different people in Flamecraft, showing them wearing saris and those kinds of things. And they were just like, we rarely get to see ourselves in games and media. So Sandara's amazing at that. Like she's just
absolutely. And then especially too on Flamecraft, Manning was so good about calling that and thinking about that specifically. There's a shop in Flamecraft that has there's a potion dragon concocting things. It's sort of, and then there's someone in there with only has one arm, and it's in someone cosplayed as that character. It was really great just to see representation of like, hey, there's
it's really lovely.
All sorts of people in the world, and it's just great to see all sorts of people in games. Now,
agree.
The poodle is a fan. This one surprised me at how much this posh poodle on the Kickstarter people love this art. The poodle gain 1 star for each ingredient worth 6 or more before spice served to the critics. So the poodle's picky. Okay. 6s or above. Don't even try with that like lower stuff, right? Very fun.
When you imagine a critic, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Are they like, is it a poodle?
Is it like this?
Your poodle looks like
is that your taste test? You're coming at the end of the week.
Or, it's Gaga.
Or is it like, this is the rabbit? Look at the rabbit. It's like, yes, I want more cake. Give me all the cake.
Absolutely.
The rabbit, throughout the game, the value of all carrots is doubled, which can get ridiculous because there are also rumors that can count carrots again as double, and there's double, and the spice can make carrots double. So there's just this like stacking of super carrot scores, which is amazing.
That's the one I had. So I played Critter Kitchen for my birthday last week, and
it's a good birthday one because of the cake.
Yeah, I was teaching new people, so I thought that's a great one to use for new people because it's really simple. You're just doubling the carrots. But one of the rumors was doubling the meats. There was a lot of doubling going on.
Yeah. This is an interesting point from Peter. We worked really hard to make all the critics positive. Early drafts where she won't even eat anything 5 or less, but instead shifted it to be a positive bonus if you do the extra work. That's a great. Those are the kind of things that when we signed the game, those kind of things were already worked out. And every time we suggested an idea that went down a path, Peter's like, we've been down that path. That doesn't go well. Because there were like penalties, I think, if you missed certain servings and stuff like that. And that just doesn't feel good in a game. So those were taken out. This is one of my, I love this guy. Look at this guy. There's a critic for you.
I love it.
St. Bernard.
Does he bring his own wine when he doesn't like the wine?
That's right.
But I actually know nothing about what is in those barrels on dogs. Like I don't know why they have
this is this is serious though. Like if you are in harsh winter climates. Is that what that's for?
I don't know.
Well, you need someone who's
Is it not for the dog?
No, I don't think it's for the dog. I think it's an emergency,
That's harsh.
Crack this
open. Dog.
We can
This is
share it with
mine. Very excitedly running around going, this is mine, right? And then you take it off him.
Throughout the game, wine ingredients may be used as allspice. So this is another one that would make you rush for all the wine. We have some really fun ones. I mean, this one, the art just got crazy. Crazy. Look at the raccoon. So the raccoon is one of my favorite powers because it just changes the game so much. Throughout the game, 2 value ingredients, because raccoons will eat anything, do not count towards your refrigeration limit, and they can be kept outside. I think that's part of why I think it's so funny. You keep them outside the refrigerator, you don't care. And then when preparing the critic meal, each course may include any amount of 2 value ingredients of its type. So you can serve your 6-course carrot, but also a whole bunch of 2s. Like, seriously. That's a brandy barrel. That's what Chris is saying.
Yeah.
It's a brandy barrel. Okay. And then Peter is confirming they have brandy, since if you're freezing, it makes you feel warm. Not for the dog.
Not for the dog. Maybe. Who knows the situation? I'd like to give you a fun fact about raccoons. Those that don't, they wash all their food. They even wash their hands. So if you want to watch an amazing / very sad video of a raccoon washing its candy floss away, you can.
Yes, I know. I've seen that one. Can I tell you what videos I'm watching of raccoons right now? I've been watching this creator on TikTok that has a pet raccoon, and I don't know if that's advised. I don't think it's advised. But they have
it's more that they get found out and the raccoon gets taken away. It's really sad.
They have a pet raccoon, and they're filming all the time the raccoon running around their living room, tearing stuff up, like just tearing stuff up. And I go, that's what you would get if you kept a pet raccoon. Yeah. But the funniest part about the video is the woman who's filming will tell the raccoon no, not to get into something, and the raccoon will then take it out on the dad. Just like go over to him and start like doing this to his head.
This doesn't sound like a good relationship.
No, I'm like, this probably shouldn't be happening. But anyway.
There's also a woman who owns a ferret, and because ferrets like to hide things, every day she has to go and find piles of socks and stuff under like 7 different. And the ferret is repeatedly taking the stuff back and re-hiding it, and they're like, no.
Okay. I hope Peter and Alex are listening, because we don't have a ferret in the game, and we apparently need a ferret.
Which would steal your ingredients and sit on them.
This is one of the early ones that Sandara ever drew, which is the tree shrew. And the tree shrew loves spice. And this is another fun fact about the game, is that Peter and Alex thought about what creatures what would fit mechanically to a creature. And tree shrews apparently are one of the few animals in the world that can deal with spice. So throughout the game, spice multiplies the value of ingredients by 3 instead of 2. When you want to play a mega spice game, you got to put in the tree shrew. God, could this be my absolute favorite though? The hippo. God, I love the hippo.
So cute.
Because the hippo has a little bird on its head, and that's very important because in Africa, there's when 2 animals have what is that relationship?
Symbiotic?
Yeah. Well, they have a relationship where there's advantages for both species, right? And so these birds hang out on the hippo. Peter will probably chime in what type of bird it is. But the mechanically in Critter Kitchen, you place the unused challenge card face up besides the hippo for the duration of the game. You can serve this additional challenge at the end of each of the 3 days. So you're actually using all the food in the game, and the little bird is eating that last challenge. That's so cute. I love the hippo.
Cute.
So there are so many
than like those little fish that eat stuff under sharks or whales.
Yes, exactly. Just like that. Some of the best art. I could just keep going. Sandara's art. Look at this.
That is how I imagine a critic. That little like the suaveness of the sort of,
the oxpecker. That's what it is. The oxpecker.
Oh, I'll share that one then instead.
That's what the bird is that lands on the hippo.
He got his birds confused.
The hyena, throughout the game, 3 value ingredients do not count against your refrigeration limit. So hyenas will also eat pretty much anything, but they'll go for 3s. When preparing the critic meal, your fish course, which normally can only have 1 fish in it, can include all the 3s you could throw in there. So when the hyena eats that course, you can serve a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. This is sometimes very minor stuff, but it changes the game. Here's another one for when you have a big player count, because you need 3+ for this, for the Wolverine. Look at this Wolverine.
He's so cool.
That is awesome. Now that guy,
Hugh Jackman.
the Wolverine, when it comes to your party, before shopping each round, you gain a star for each location where you are alone because you just want to get away from the Wolverine. That's what it's a fun one to play because all throughout that game, you are trying to think about where everyone's going to go and go somewhere where just you are going to be there. And it's very tricky to
And you're like, it's kind of a bit of a memory game because you can't keep picking up the critic and going, oh, what am I doing? You're trying to remember that, and then all the rumors as well. Just keep on like trying to remember. Like with the last game I played, I won. I think I had 29 stars because I had so much spice because no one was picking up spice for some reason, and I was like, okay, I'll just spice everything in my final meal, and it was a big plate. So yeah,
Don't let Rosie take all the spice.
yeah, I don't know what happened there. They actually, I didn't get any zoo chefs though. They took the zoo chefs from me. So
I will tell you, we'll go into questions soon. I will tell you about Solo a little bit. So Solo has like the same critics, but you have this type of card for the Solo player. And on the back of that, what we put is what they prioritize all 3 of the days. So sometimes there's a little bit of variance of like the final day, they don't care about getting a zoo chef as much because that'd be like what they care about early on. Obviously the rabbit is always going to care about carrots, so that's ranked higher in their chart. So what ends up happening is the critic is just going to take the best ingredients that they get at the end. During the challenges, if there's a savory stack and it needs meat, and the AI chefs grab meat, they're going to get a star for that. So they're not going to serve challenges like you're going to serve challenges. They're just going to get stars when they beat you to the good stuff. Then at the end of the game, they are just taking their best items and serving a critic meal. Even though it's McDonald's, they still will try and serve a 7-course McDonald's meal and beat you at that. If you lose against that, I mean, you aren't trying. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually very hard. It's challenging because they don't actually care that it's the rabbit or the kangaroo. They're just serving up the best possible meal that they can do, and you have to outsmart them by kind of using the nuances of the critic. But while you're doing that, what happens is they have a bunch of manager cards. See, there's the McDonald's logo right there. Little prairie dogs. You get the prairie dog face that Sundar put on there. That's their manager cards. And then you've also got a deck of cards for each of your 3 chefs because you've got boars and you've got lizards. Look at that with the McDonald's hat. And then you've also got your mouse chefs.
Oh, we missed the trick with the manager cards. If we'd made them small, they could be micro manager cards.
Micro manager cards. Look at that. Rosie, we should have called you in earlier in the production.
I know how great it is that they're all the same size, though. As someone that keeps answering it's 256 poker cards, to add in like a different size can always be a fun thing.
Yeah, Peter Hayward is mentioning that Christine really streamlined this mode and got it to be, it's a very simple thing to see like what the critic cares about. Like every time when you're first of all, how do you get their chefs out there? Well, you look at a manager card, which may change up the round. Like for example, this one says you're going to do them in opposite order. So normally you send the mouse out first. This one's saying send the zoo chef if they have one out, then the boar, then the lizard, then the mouse. So the manager will switch it up. Then you go and take a card for, like, let's pretend that wasn't switched up and you're going to do the mouse card, right? So the mouse card, this one says, hey, send the mouse a location with the most spice. Just a quick scan. You see which one it is. If there's a tie break, there's a little tie break thing here where if there's more than one, you're going to prioritize from a certain direction, left or right. Also, if the mouse goes out to a certain location and then the lizard card also tries to go to that same location, you use that directional arrow to have them go to the first available location that's empty. So the whole point of that is to make it so that it does not take your whole afternoon to figure out where the AI goes. You play like a couple of cards to send them somewhere. And the other thing about that is you can't predict it. You can't go, oh, clearly they're going to go for the meat because they mix it up on you. And then they get in your way, which is what normal players do. And after they get in your way and you have to go pick an ingredient, this tells you if you should care more about the spice or the 7. I mean, this is like, just helps you specifically prioritize. They're pretty tough. Like you play and you're like, how did they know I was going to go there? Like you're like, oh, if they don't go to the Midnight Merchant, I'll be fine. And then they just They just get right in front of you. I don't know how McDougall's knows, but they know. Anyway, if anyone has any questions about solo, we are going to be putting on a solo video that's coming up.
Well, there was a question asking about how to plays, and we will have 2 how to plays. One will be how to play the game and the expansion, and one will be a specifically solo one from 2 different creators. So when they're posted, we will be sharing them on all of our socials and everywhere that we can share them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Does anyone else have a... Yes, we will totally cover that. We want everyone to, because here's the thing about games, there is a certain period of time when everyone's going to have to know how to play from either us or from this rule book. But the game is actually very simple, and no one needs, once we get enough people to understand the basics, none of us needs this. It's a really simple game. You actually play Critter Kitchen 7 rounds of gathering ingredients. Once you've seen 1 round, I swear you have it. Like, it's just about learning how the tie breaks work and how to... After that, it's about getting in everyone's head. Because then you're like, okay, I think Rosie's going to go over there. She really wants this. I've seen a rumor that says the rabbit cares about to-go food, whatever. You have all these like little bits of information. If you're playing with restaurateurs or carts, you have a couple other things that come up. You might have a sous chef that gives you a new animal power. It's a lot of fun stuff that goes on in there.
We have the ferret. Doesn't exist, by the way, for anyone. At the end of each round, the last player in tiebreak order may ask the first player for an ingredient. If they have it, they must give one of their choice. Wait, so you aren't going to have them just actively sit on the ingredients and hide them in the room?
There you go. I love it. Fast, Peter and Alex were always coming up with animal powers in this game.
So we got some questions.
Yes. Let's go over questions.
Don't have to say exactly which ones, but how many projects do you expect Cardboard Alchemy to release to crowdfunding this year?
That is a good question. In the last stream, I did actually... Oh, how many campaigns? Yeah, so it's the same question. We are planning to launch 3 campaigns this year, which I've admitted in the stream before would be a record for us, because we have only done 2 in 1 year before. We have not done 3 in 1 year. So I might have to check whether or not my sanity levels, but I really would like to launch 3 this year. So
like Betrayal at House on the Hill, every time you add a campaign, you go slightly more insane.
Yeah, I love that game, by the way. And what's really fun about that game is if you do lose mental, like there's a physical health meter and a mental health meter, and if you lose mental health, you can either lose knowledge or sanity. I think it's your choice. Yeah. I'm not going to lose knowledge. I'll just lose sanity, I guess. I can't wait to do 3 campaigns. I'm excited by all 3 of them, and I can say what we're aiming for, at least for our first one, is they're going to be Flamecraft duels. We're going to have a notification page coming up real soon, because we'd like to put that on a Kickstarter, and we would love all of your help funding what is going to be a very exciting bunch of new content for Flamecraft. A brand new game, and as much new, crazy, wacky stuff as we could cram into the it's like a mini expansion for Flamecraft and a brand new 2-player game, all in one. Super excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Flamecraft Duels is going to have a lot of fun things to talk about.
And there might be some merch.
A little bit of merch.
A little bit.
A little bit. We're working on a couple of things. We're trying to, there will be, for everyone who wonders this, because I know this happens on our Facebook group, all past promos will be offered on that campaign. So a bundle of everything you missed. If you missed anything, we're just going to put it all in a bundle and make it like an easy to get thing that we can just get to people who have been waiting for the past stuff, which is going to be exciting. And then what we couldn't help ourselves, we had to make new stuff, because Sandara's awesome to work with. Manny has been like cooking up ideas. He actually pulled out ideas from like way back when we were first making the game, and he had these notes, and we were like, yeah, let's make those cards too. So we're going to have a lot of fun.
And any news about the missing sous chef slots in the deluxe version of Critter Kitchen? This might be the second most asked question, of anything so far.
There are no... Boy, I tell you, this is a tough one. All I asked was, can we leave a slot or two open?
Yeah.
And Game Trays was nice enough to cram that in there. It was a very tight tray, and they did manage to get that in there. There are currently no concrete plans yet to fill that, although we're, that we just left that open for that possibility. We're going to talk about this year. We're going to talk about, if everyone's really loving Critter Kitchen, what other promo things can we do? You can expect the easiest type of promos would be like a critic or something like that, a critic or a restaurateur or a sous chef. Well, the sous chefs would take those meeples, so we will consider 2 more sous chefs. And I don't know, there's a lot of animals that didn't make it into the game, so you could post on our Facebook group an animal that you don't see in the game yet that you love. I'm sure we'll consider all animals right now. It has to be a medium and a small. Can't be a big animal, because we've already unlocked a reindeer for the super secret slot that came with the game. So
it's so cute. It might be one of my favorites.
I do love the reindeer, not only the art but also the meeple with all of the
same. It's really cool.
Maybe we'll even add a frog, says Peter. What? There's already a frog. Oh wait,
a second frog. Okay, that is now canon. That's happening.
Nope, he's already corrected it. We'll never add a frog.
You can't go back on that now. Frogs have been promised.
So we'd love to hear, first of all, when you get your game for Critter Kitchen, one of the things that I love about these fan groups, and we have one for Critter Kitchen on Facebook, we also have a Discord. I can't wait to hear what combos you're playing, what critic you played, what sous chefs showed up, what carts you decided to mix in when you're ready for carts, what restaurateurs you're playing. So if you want to talk about sous chefs, what I love about sous chefs is there's already 38. There's 38. So there's an alpaca, there's a butterfly, and there's a lion, and there's a zebra, there's a panda. It's just like so much fun. And yet the animal kingdom, of course, includes so many more options. It'd be fun to talk about what else there is.
Someone asked Critter Kitchen faction Andromeda's Edge, the floating kitchen, which we want to take over the galaxy.
My God, a floating kitchen would be amazing. Luke has some ideas for some new factions for Andromeda's Edge. We don't yet have the floating kitchen on. I know that it's funny about Luke and Maximus have their own ideas about what to do next. And then every once in a while, I know that we were doing one of these streams and the Hungry Gamer and Don Gilstrap shouted out space chickens, which, then I was like, oh, pigs in space. But, who knows what we'll do. I don't know if that's Critter Kitchen is not on our priority list for expansion factions, because we're just thinking about a lot of different directions, but we are not ever opposed to these cross-promotional universe colliding type of ideas.
I want a Twilight door just floating in space, and you have to roll a dice, and every time you roll a dice, it's like you enter the door and it's one of like 6 remaining factions that you suddenly have to play.
Nice.
Just like,
awesome.
Who am I playing now?
Chris Strain with another idea. It should be a restaurant at the edge of the galaxy.
Very suitable. Very cool. And they offer towels, obviously.
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
Obviously. Will the past promos for Planecraft Duels be available now? I think they mean Planecraft. There are no promos for Planecraft Duels as it stands.
As it stands right now. Now, that is a very sad answer that I have to give, because at the moment it is just English. I know that when we first launched the campaign, we did have those cards in French, and we had them in German, we had them in other languages. We made a special deal with those publishers at the time. It's really not on us. We're not really we can't make that promo, or we'd have to talk to them about that. So we can certainly encourage, if Duels comes out and we put all these past promos back out, like the alt starters and the flame starter statue, we would certainly encourage you to talk to the publisher of Flamecraft in France and say, hey, can you get these also? I know right now we're talking to some of those publishers and saying, what is your interest? But here's where this is where publishing gets complicated. There is not enough demand sometimes for promos. I will give you a story about that, which is that we were telling our English just distribution partner, which is Lucky Duck, we were telling them about how we want to make more promos, and they said, that's awesome. No stores want that. And this is where stores dictate purchasing behavior. So for Kickstarter and for crowdfunding, because Cardboard Alchemy is is doing these in English, it's very easiest for it to whip up an English promo. It is not as easy to get a promo translated to the publisher who's managing that property in Spain. It is just harder. And this goes for any, like, Duels is its own product. And so we have to like solicit it and go back out to all these partners. And some countries will want it and some countries will not want it. And it depends on whether they've got small games that they think they already have enough of that type of game. And so this is a whole process. I feel bad that we can't offer it in every language. But it is the kind of thing where if there's interest, it's a never say never kind of a thing. If there's interest and you go talk to the publisher, I think, like, for example, Asmodee Germany publishes Flamecraft in German. So it's possible that if they get enough interest that they will say, hey, can we get those promos next? But at the moment, it's just planned for English.
Yeah.
McDougall's in space. Thank you, Brad. That's another way to go for promo for a faction in Andromeda's Edge. There you go.
That's only for solo.
Solo Andromeda's Edge.
Yeah. Box Meeples is raising the UK stores often want promos. I think it really just depends on the kind of audience. Like in the UK, we are very lucky that we have so many ways to access games from all over. So we are more likely to have access to promos, so they're way more common to look for. I certainly remember when I got into the hobby, I was hunting for those Splendor promos. They did these Splendor tiles that they were giving out, and they did clear tokens and they had playmats. But slowly over time, like I stopped hunting just because I can't be a completionist. So I think it just depends on the place whether promos are a thing they care about. Or
what's funny is that in my local store, I see more promos taped on the boxes than I've ever seen before now.
Taped onto boxes?
Yeah, so what happens is, like, I went to go buy Lord of the Rings 7 Wonders Duel, and they had a promo taped right on the back of the box. And then I went to go buy the Lord of the Rings Fellowship trick-taking game, and they had a promo taped on the box. And then I went to go buy another one, and there was a promo taped on the box. And I was like, okay, so promos are... Awesome. I personally love that they're there, but I can see the difficulty because A, they probably fall off. B, customers are confused that there's one there. They don't know it. Like when I went to go buy Arthurian Nights, which is it's a re-release of Arabian Nights, but it's Arthurian, themed. And I went to go to the register to buy it, and they said, "Oh, do you want the promo?" And I was like, "Yes." And they go, "Oh, we're sold out of the promo." And I was like, now I feel like, ugh, like there's a promo that I missed. So I get why they're trickier.
I always would ask stores, "Hey, what promos have you got? I'm looking for this one." They didn't offer it as often as they wouldn't be taped on boxes for me, not that I'd seen. Yeah. But it's funny you talk about Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game, because I went to the launch event for it in Asmodee, and they used drafts, which you've been to, the drafts that you've been to. And they took over the whole upstairs, and they provided food, and they did some Lord of the Rings themed cocktails. One of them was like bright blue. It was like Gandalf something, and there was an amber drink. Managed to get to chapter 6, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so much fun. I highly recommend that game. It's so fun.
I have it, and I just need to get a group to play, because I know you can play solo, but I don't want to do that with that game. I want to explore it with like a few people. So I got to get that game going.
Yeah, they didn't even have the promos there. So you gave me the promo for it, and I was like, "Oh, have you got one? I'd give it to my mum, who really liked the game." Yeah. I was like, "No, we haven't got any." And I was like, "That's so bizarre. This is Asmodee. I thought they'd have it." Yeah. But it was really cool. They had they got a bunch of coasters and enamel pins made with the artwork,
nice.
Which is really cool.
That's cool.
So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
So. I love how Lord of the Rings as an IP has not been lost on board games. Like, no shortage of, which I think is awesome, because I would be sad if that wasn't the case. And I love that you're just so many games you can get hobbits in.
Yeah, and yet we still don't have a cozy Hobbit game. So someone needs to make that.
A cozy Hobbit game, absolutely.
I
basically want the whole serving, like, of you're selflessly getting all these things served.
Well, I want it to be that you have to manage like all the different tasks you have to do, but still have fun, and you need to keep yourself within the levels. It's about maintaining a
Yeah.
balanced life. So it's, you can't work too hard, but you also can't relax too much. You need to keep balance.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what the Hobbits have got down. I think that would be cool.
That's cool.
Lord of the Rings Pandemic is,
So I
yeah.
will mention, while we're on the subject of promos, though, there is something special to mention about Critter Kitchen, which is that Critter Kitchen, when we released Critter Kitchen, we did offer a promo to every single partner of Critter Kitchen, and that was that they could all have the Lucky Duck cards, which includes Wolfgang Duck and Cosmo the Octopus as one of the zoo chefs that you can get. And it is interesting that each country decided to take that promo in different ways. Some of them decided not to take it at all. They're like, you gave us a promo, we don't want it. Another country would say, we're taping it to the back of the box. Another country would decide to put it inside the box, which to me defeats the point, because then you don't know it's there, but whatever. In any case, there's a fun promo out there, which is that you can see if it exists in retail. I think it's going to be in every English copy, and every French copy is going to have it. I don't know about the other languages, but
that's amazing.
It is the Lucky Duck promo. And the remaining promos we'll eventually have on our shop, because there are more promos to collect if you find it in retail and you want to get in on that whole promo action.
Absolutely.
We had other questions.
Or
comments.
That was the questions.
Okay.
I did want to tell you about the game I played on my birthday that was really
fun. Yes, I
fun.
want to hear about this game.
So, has anyone heard of 10 Candles, the one-shot RPG?
I have not.
What it is
like
you're literally lighting 10 tea lights.
Okay.
And
Moody, like it.
Yeah, and there's no lights on other than that. And there is a GM, but the GM is like created like the baddie is created while all the other characters are created. You basically write notes left and right, and you create your characters immediately. And you can come up with scenarios, but in 10 Candles, you will always die. It's going to end badly. That's a given, because then you can just play the story and not worry about trying to survive. But it's always about darkness. Darkness is coming, but it could be any form of baddie. You can make it up. So we made up the theme that we were toys in the attic, and it had gone dark, and we didn't know why. And so we'd heard a walkie-talkie say, like, toy downstairs go, come down here, we know what's happened.
And to find the door.
We had to get through the door, go down the stairs. And it was really fun because I was a robot. And I was called Ribbit because the kid who owned me didn't know how to say robot. My friend Jess was a doll who had sort of rubbed off her eyes enough that she was sort of short-sighted. And then there was a very old bear who spoke very slowly, and he was more of a hindrance than a help. That guy, he was very slow. And basically what was really fun is when we sort of lose a roll, like if you don't roll a 6, you basically lose. The scene ends, a candle is blown out. And then we must all admit, like, however many truths of the scene there are dice for. So there's 8 dice. You say, this is true. This scene, there are going to be, we're safe in this place. And then the baddie, the GM, gets to go, but there is a noise in the walls. And you're like, it was really fun, and I loved creating a scenario. So my question to you is, what kind of RPGs could you imagine for our games? Like, what kind of worlds would you want to play an RPG in?
That'd be fun. I mean, it would definitely be fun to eventually. I know we've talked about this before, and our Discord talks about this to play as the Artisan Dragons. We actually. We were putting a pin in that till we get more of the world built out in Flamebound, and then it'll be fun to talk more about that too. Because there are certain, and I love the idea of one-shots, by the way, because a lot of times the obstacle to playing like campaigns is just finding the time and finding the committed players. But when you could get something like, there was a one-shot that I wanted to play, which is that you're like, you're all goblins for hire, and you're all trying to make some money, and it's like, you just play like one evening of that, and then you're done. Like, you don't need more than that. It's a fun, kind of a thing there. By the way, speaking of, Peter Hayward just took off, but before he did, he says, where can I put all my books? Which reminds me, we should shout out a campaign, a Kickstarter campaign that we have been looking forward to and has launched, called A Place for All My Books, by designers. Well, first of all, it's got Alex Cutler, one of the co-designers of Critter Kitchen, which is one of the reasons why it got on our radar, but also Mike Michalczyk, who's a great designer, and he and Alex made this game that's so cozy that they obviously sent a copy to Cozy Corner to cover it. It's super cozy. And you did do a video already, right?
I've done a video. Jason EasyCat has also done a video which got about 400,000 views, so he's absolutely smashed it. And it's a lot of fun. It's very cute. The artwork is, there's even a squishy red dragon like in on the
cute.
books. So there's dragons in it. But it's very cute. And the deluxe version, they've made the box.
All in the books.
It looks like a book.
Oh, that's cool.
Outside, and then they've got like gold or like they've got like metallic effect on the books, which is really nice. So and I also have to shout out Twinkle Twinkle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's from Amon. Amon. I always forget his name.
Anderson.
Yeah, Amon Anderson. It's alliteration that I should know. And I've played that. It's a lot of fun. It's like King Domino meets like Cascadia. It's
and that's from All Play, which is on Kickstarter as well. It was a big end of January where a bunch of campaigns came out, and that one looks great. I saw your video on that one, and I was immediately intrigued by the gameplay in that one and the choices you're making. It feels like some fun combos, like this one scores this way, and I need this one because it's like that.
I'm always impressed when a game is speedy. For example, like we played that and I was like, oh, that took like 15 minutes whilst learning it. Now, we'll say we do know how King Domino works, Cascadia works. We already have those groundings. But I was like, wow, first time playing 15 minutes. That's amazing that it's that quick. It's already got beautiful production for prototypes. So it's really well put together. I just love peeling acrylic. That's my own like thing. I just love the
acrylic tokens. We almost did acrylic tokens in one of our games. What we found out was, because we were considering it for Andromeda's Edge, we found out that the acrylic tokens cost almost as much to manufacture as miniatures. And we were like, okay, then we're just going to go miniatures. But we were thinking it would be like a more affordable thing at one point, and it turned out to be quite expensive to make.
That's really surprising because you can buy that stuff in the UK.
I know. So I'm like, I need to look into like some of the ones that are doing it now. Maybe there's some new techniques that have emerged.
But maybe the machines have gotten easier to acquire and thus it's cheaper. I don't
know. Look at this. Addie's like, we're gonna play Critter Kitchen and Wild Gardens this weekend. That's I'd definitely be cheeky and buy another game too. I stumble into my local game store and always usually walk away with something because I love to support them.
Yeah, I did buy the new Lord of the Rings Duel. I haven't opened it yet, but I will be going back to my friendly local game cafe tomorrow for a belated birthday thing with my parents, and I'll be curious if when it's like, I mean, maybe you don't, but it's your birthday and you're like, it's my birthday, someone buy me a game. Like, that looks fun. So it's lovely there. It's always really cozy and fun.
And Wild Gardens, if I'm not mistaken, is the one. It's very beautiful looking, where you're planting flowers in different seasons and you're wandering around. I don't know if I think I told the story on the stream. I'm not sure if I did, but I was at PAX and I heard that Wild Gardens were telling everybody that it's like Flamecraft. I heard that they were describing it like Flamecraft, or that it's cozy like Flamecraft, or whatever they were saying about it. So I went over to go get a pitch, and they did the line, and they like, it's, if you like Flamecraft, you're gonna love this game. I was like, I happen to love Flamecraft. I had a fun time with them because I was like, well, that's flattering that Flamecraft is a standard of coziness. I think that's great. So
I get it all the time on my videos. Someone goes, does it play like Flamecraft? And they'll be like, no. Like, not all games do, sadly, but it's very cute if that's kind of what you're going with.
This is reminding me of, you know what this is reminding me of Beyond Zelda, where you're foraging for ingredients and then you cook something. Is that what it feels like, Wild Gardens? I don't know.
I mean, another game called like Fungi is exactly like that, where you forage for mushrooms and then you cook them in butter and like cider. But you got to get them cooked before like you walk too far away from them. So you're literally walking around with a pan going, hang on a sec. Just cook these mushrooms in butter.
Does butter make mushrooms taste good? Finally,
I mean, I can't imagine them with cider. I don't know what it is about that. Cider and apple, yeah, in a meal, that's great. Mushrooms, I'm like a bit thrown by that one, but it's just me. Maybe I haven't foraged with a skillet.
That's what you got to do. Go out there with a skillet, get that done. A place for all your ingredients. Well, anyway, I hope everyone has fun playing games. You can feel free to tell us what you have played in a future stream. Also, if we didn't answer your question, we are on Facebook. We have dedicated fan groups to all of our games. We have a Discord that is active, and we're going to play where I'm going to put duels. First time you can try out duels, Flamecraft Duels, is going to be in our Discord. So if you haven't joined us over there and you want to test out new games, that's what we're going to be doing over there.
The Discord is linked below. So
Discord also has a lot of fans who answer questions. So if you don't find the answer in the Facebook group, Discord's another way to go. And of course, on YouTube, we'll answer questions here. On BGG, if you want to just get technical and get into the rules of anything, we're over there. So,
and now everyone go and watch Boxed Meeples Top 10. And let's find out if we're in it. We're gonna do like a Twitch raid. Just go over there. I don't know how it works.
Those raids. I never got that at all. I was like, what?
I'd be watching a stream and suddenly raid. I'm like, what is going on? So yeah, but no, everyone go there and let's go watch Julian and Libby and see what bets are in. Where do you think it's going to come? What do you think? I think it's going to be 3 or 4. I think that's my bet.
That's a solid bet. I think that it's just an honor to get it considered. I know.
It might even be in there and they're just messing with it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's also fine. I mean, I get it. It's
I think it is based on the hints, but
it's exciting that people really like that game, and I can't wait to play more.
He has some of his factions signed by Luke with a big.
That's cool.
Pen. He got some like fun. The pirates say like "arr."
There was a funny thing about I don't think I've mentioned this one before, but I asked Luke if he would sign tactics cards at PAX Unplugged because we were looking for something that he could sign, and so he and Maximus both signed a deck of tactics cards. But they signed they signed like right over all of the words of the tactics card. And I was like, well, first of all, people probably aren't playing with that card, but if they are, they're like, I have no idea what this does because it says Luke Glory. It doesn't say like what it does. Although I think it's funny because he was like, nope, you just, maybe you make that one up. I don't know.
I mean, it's like when I get Lorcana signed, they always sign here. So you're just like, I hope I don't, if I have to play with this, I have to know how it plays because I'll just be like, I can't see it.
I don't know if people actually play with signed cards. That's the trick. That's where it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, probably.
But I know that. Well, it's funny because I just asked Sandara to sign some cards so that someday we can have this special pack of cards that are signed by Sandara and all these other companion cards that we have in the game. I'm working on getting those signed. And I noticed that she didn't sign on the power though. So I think she did better than anyone I've seen do it yet.
Gotta start designing cards with space for signatures, Peter.
Right, that's what we gotta do. Usually we can barely get the font big enough to read it on the card.
Can you read it? Yeah,
that's our first problem, right? All right. Well, anyway, I got a delivery and we gotta go. So thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Talk to you again